Good morning, everyone. We're going to get started. Hopefully you can hear me over this nice calm breeze that we have here with us today. But I'd like to start out and welcome everyone to our Day of Hope and Remembrance. I'm Don Sawyer, and I currently serve as the Vice President for Equity and Inclusion. And it's an honor to be here with you today as we mark the anniversary of our campus shutdown and the journey since that moment. For me personally, this past year has been interesting to say the least. On December 13th, 2020, I received a call that I will never forget. My mother called me to let me know that my father had passed away due to complications from COVID. My father received a positive result on a Wednesday, and he was gone on that Sunday. I wasn't prepared for the news, and needless to say, I was in shock. I was confused. I was sad, but I was not alone. So many people from my QU family reached out to ensure that I was doing well. I received numerous cards and text messages. I received gift certificates for food and special packages of sweet treats. I felt truly loved, and my hope for humanity was restored. I truly felt the warmth of the Bobcat family, and for that, I'm extremely grateful. One of the many things that I learned from my father is being in the service of others and always seeing people through the lens of possibility. My dad, he had a radical imagination. He was never able to finish high school, but he imagined a better world for me. He saw a life for me that he didn't see for himself, and he made countless sacrifices to help me get to this point. He did not let our neighborhood's conditions diminish or tarnish his visions for the possibilities of a better future. Again, he saw life through the lens of possibility. And that is how I see our future here at the institution. I view our lives and our steps forward through the lens of possibility. This past year has been challenging for us all. We have all experienced some type of loss. We have all felt pain, anxiety, loneliness. And there were probably times where we did not see how we would get through the mess. Yet here we are, a year later, and we have survived. Despite every hardship we experienced, we made it through. And we wanted to come together today to mark this moment and look forward to the future as a community. And so I now have the distinct pleasure of introducing our fearless leader, our president, Dr. Julie Olean, to share some remarks.
Thank you, Don. And I know I speak for everyone in saying that our heart goes out to you. Can I be heard here, or should I speak up? I can be. Good. We felt your pain with you. It was such a sad moment when we heard about your loss. I want to thank everyone for coming out here today, for joining us in person, and what a thrill it is to see people in person, though we probably have to have our names on our lapels to know who's who. And for those of us who are joining online, here it is at the center of life here in the Bobcat community. A little cold, a little windy, but yet I am so happy to see us here live and in person. It's really our first old community gathering in a year, and it feels so wonderful to be back doing this again. This is a special moment to reflect on and share our personal stories and about the many people and experiences lost over this year, and to look ahead with hope and gratitude for the new dawn, for the sunshine that's now coming back into our lives. A year ago, almost to the very hour, I was in that communications studio right over there, and I recorded what was a really sad message telling you, our students and your families, that we wouldn't be returning to the Bobcat den for the remainder of the spring semester. It turns out that all of us, friends, classmates, athletes, faculty, staff, wouldn't be together in person again for much longer than we ever imagined at that moment on March 15th, a year ago. The faculty and staff remained home too, turning their dining rooms, bedrooms, basements, nooks and crannies into offices, classrooms, meeting rooms, while our public safety and facility staff stayed here on ground to protect our campuses. As a university community, the state, the nation, and the world came together as never before to combat the COVID-19 pandemic. The battle was led by frontline heroes, including those from our own community, and ultimately dealt with by every one of you with humbling resilience, inner strength, and caring for others. What's been lost is really unfathomable. So many lives, so many families and futures broken. We owe it to them and to ourselves to pause, to contemplate these indescribable losses. Let's reflect on the people near and dear to us whose lives were stolen by COVID. These are our mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, grandparents, loved ones, and dear friends. For those of you who suffered painful losses, we cannot lift the pain, but know that you are not alone. We are here with you to help you carry your burden and to offer comfort. There are other losses too, as the pandemic dragged on for a full year now. A loss of connectedness and human contact. We missed our companionship and togetherness. We missed milestones like birthdays, anniversaries, graduations, weddings, and much more that are just part of the fabric of life. It is important that we allow ourselves to introspect, to fully recognize and grapple with what was lost. Some losses stay with us forever. They become part of who we are. And I hope also that they will propel us with even more resolve, gratitude, and appreciation for what lies ahead. As we look forward with hope and anticipation for all that we'll regain, there is one element of our lives that to me looms larger than most, and that is companionship. That's a big reason we've all gathered here today, because together we can comfort each other and find joy in the hope that lies ahead. And I do think there is so much to be hopeful for. We now have multiple highly effective vaccines. You are all keeping each other healthy on and off campus. Our rates of infection are low, which will enable us to continue to be together for the remainder of the semester. Spring is on the way. We can be outside, and many new events and activities are becoming possible. On the quad here on Friday, I looked out from my office. It was already filled with students enjoying the sun, throwing a frisbee here or there, sharing a laugh over coffee, and much more. We will continue as time passes to reinvigorate our bonds as a community, as we're doing now and in the months ahead. We're stronger from all that we've experienced and overcame in the last year. And I hope that you, like me, are filled with optimism about the future as we rejoin with each other in friendship and support to the place that is for all of us home. Thank you, and be well.
We will now be joined by another fearless leader, our president of the Student Government Association, Sophia Marshall.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Sophia Marshall, and I am the president of the Student Government Association. First and foremost, before I begin, I just want us to all take a moment of silence acknowledging the lives that we've lost from this COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you. To me, this event symbolizes a light at the end of the tunnel, a statement of our resilience as a community and as students. We haven't made it yet, but slowly and surely, we're getting there. I remember exactly where I was when I heard that universities were beginning to shut down, how scared I was to think that the same timely fate might occur within our own university. Sure enough, a year ago today, Quinnipiac University decided to move entirely online, following suit with institutions around the nation. Waves of uncertainty, though, turned into a challenging yet transformative period for all of us. Reflecting on the past year, I think it's safe to say that we've grown as individuals. We've become more mature, more resilient, and in some ways, more connected. We've learned how to make feta pasta and enough TikTok dances for 2 lifetimes, and we've remembered the importance of connecting with those who truly love us and who we love too. We've met new people and built new relationships and discovered things about ourselves that we never knew that we never would have in the busy constants of our lives. If the pandemic has taught me anything, it's that sometimes it's okay to slow down and appreciate the little things that we take for granted most days. Even in the worst circumstances, we still find a way to grow and to ultimately bloom. So now, what do we do with all of these lessons learned? Well, in short, we just need to hold on. I too am feeling the jitters and anticipation that comes with being, quote, almost there. If this wave of the pandemic was a race, we would be entering into the last lap close enough to taste the victory of finishing. the victory of a vaccination. We've come so far, and now we're so close to being at a place where we can return to some sense of normalcy. So Bobcat Nation, let's do just that. Hold on. There's a light at the end of the tunnel, and we're moving closer and closer to it. We got this. Let's keep going.
Okay, thank you for bearing with us. We're now going to be joined by some of our campus spiritual leaders. First, we have Father Jordan, who will be followed by our Imam Idrisu, and then we will be followed by our Rabbi Rena. Father Jordan.
What does it mean to hope? For some of us, hope is the wish for something that against all odds will somehow almost magically happen. Hope can be at times really an act born of desperation. It's an expression of something we want, but most likely we won't get. Maybe for students, it's the, yes, I know I didn't study, but I still expect an A attitude. For faculty and staff, it's the, will there ever be a snow day here again with our ability to transition so smoothly to remote? But is that really hope? And on this day of hope and remembrance, could we perhaps think about hope from a different perspective? According to St. Thomas Aquinas, one of the greatest theologians in my religious tradition, hope is the desire to achieve something that is difficult, but nevertheless can be attained. He said, if it isn't difficult, we just do it. If it's impossible to attain, it makes no sense to desire it. And so it's Aquinas' definition of hope that has guided my reflection today. Our goal has always been to return safely, to return healthy, to return to the university in person. But to realize that hope, we had to make hard decisions. The return to campus could be done, but it would be difficult. There were moments that were bleak. There were moments that were frustrating. There were moments when we had to make choices for which the consequences were unknown and the outcomes were uncertain. But we did it. I see now the decisions we made, no matter how challenging though, were always tinged with hope. As I reflect on our journey together over these last 12 months, it occurred to me, hope is the tonality of Quinnipiac's response to the pandemic. Let me say that again. Hope is the tonality of Quinnipiac's response to the pandemic. And so we're here, we're back. Is the pandemic over? No. Is there still much work to do? Yes. Must we preserve the bubble? Absolutely. However, we don't do it alone. We do it in community. And this insight speaks to another thing that St. Thomas Aquinas taught. Hope, he said, is easier when we're hoping among friends. So we do all that we do because we are friends, because we care. We do all that we do because we support each other. We do all that we do because we recognize that together we are stronger as a Quinnipiac community. We do all that we do because here at Quinnipiac, we are a community. We are a community of hope. And it is exactly that hope, one born of community, and that has sustained us over the last 12 months, we celebrate here today. So thank you for hoping in yourselves, in your classmates, and in the Quinnipiac community. May God bless you and keep you healthy and safe today and every day. Amen.
It's windy, and of course it reminds me of the weather in Ghana. I'm originally from Ghana, so you can tell very tropical, and it's always difficult to give any speech after such a great speech, and so I'll make it snappy, very short. And of course, before I start, I'll read some few texts from the Quran, and then of course I'll end with that. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم حميم تنزيل الكتاب من الله العزيز العليم غافر الذنب وقابل التوب شديد العقاب ذي الطول لا إله إلا هو لا إله إلا هو إليه المصير ما يجادل في آيات الله إلا الذين كفروا فلا يغررك تقلبهم في البلاد كذبت قبلهم قوم نوح والأحزاب من بعدهم وهمت كل أمة برسولهم ليأخذوا وجادلوا بالتي صدق الله العظيم. So these are a few texts from the Quran which reminds us about the beauty and of course about the exemplifying example of hope which Father Jordan has talked about. We've also been taught about the reminders of the things or the bounties that God has blessed us with. And some of these bounties are the things we do every day. We come out, we play, we see the sun, and then of course we spend time with our families. But before the pandemic, everything was fine. And then during the pandemic, everything got to a halt. And so some of the lessons that we learned during this pandemic is very much to always make sure that we keep up hope, to make sure that we know we will fall, but once we fall, we should look up. And once we look up, we know that we can always wake up. And then, of course, after the pandemic, there will still be life. So it is important for us to reflect back, be one another's keeper, and then make sure that we still move ahead with the positivity that is along or that is in front of us. And of course, with that, I wish everybody well, and I know that there are better days to come, and we should always be reminded by the good times that the Lord has for us. Thank you very much.
We gather together to encourage and support one another, to embrace each other with open hearts, even as we continue to remain at a distance. We gather together to offer our most heartfelt sympathies to those who have lost more than time. We embrace you with woven comfort and hope, even as we continue to remain at a distance. We gather together to ensure the distance between us does not define the authenticity and truth of how very much we care. We gather together to care for one another because caring for one another is our most defining human quality, even as we remain at a distance.
I'd like to thank you for everyone who shared. And before we close, we wanted to point you into the direction of this piece of art that you see standing in the middle of the quad. Is a place of remembrance. And I want to give a special shout out to Keith Woodward and his team and facilities who developed this, and also the work that was done by the IMC crew here at Quinnipiac to make this event possible. And so what you see there is a place for us to write down people we may have lost in remembrance of, but also words of hope and affirmation as we move forward. And so we have this one here on our Mount Carmel campus, and we also have one that's placed, if it has not already been done yet, that will be placed in the cafeteria on our North Haven campus for us to be able to leave some words of encouragement and affirmation as we move forward. And so in closing, I just want to leave with this poem that I came across. It doesn't have an author. I don't know who the author is, but it's a poem called Hope. And And it says, when pain is cracking up through the pavement and smokes of sorrow fill the air, when skies cast stares of uncertainty and the winds of change blow through your hair, tomorrow brings a brighter day, a day to start anew. The sun will rise again to shine its light on you. So I want to thank you for being with us today, and I look forward to a brighter future. And I look forward to working with all of you to make all that we have put in place a reality for the remainder of this semester. Let us continue to go strong. I'd like to thank President Olean for your leadership through this unbelievable crisis. Because our institution has survived, and if we would take a look around our nation, we understand that everyone didn't share our same fate, but we have a committed team of leaders who are here to ensure that we put forth the best effort in keeping our community safe and making sure that our vision becomes a reality. And so thank you for being here with us today, and I look forward to working with you as we move throughout the rest of this semester. Have a great day.